Tonight from the campus of Boise State University in Boise, Idaho, Mountain West Conference basketball. The Air Force Falcons and the Boise State Broncos. And welcome inside Extra Mile Arena. With my partner Joe Cravens, I'm Drew Goodman. Glad as always that you're along. All right, let's flash back. About 3 weeks ago, these two schools met at the Air Force Academy, and Air Force came away with a 5-point victory. They played a complete basketball game. But since then, these two schools have kind of gone in opposite directions. In fact, the Air Force hasn't won since then, and Boise State's won 5 out of 6.
Well, Drew, if this was baseball season, this would be called the dog days of the season. Boise State, with just 5 games left, still has a chance to finish second in the Mountain West Conference. Air Force Academy and their coach Dave Pilipovich, they're just trying to get one over on the left-hand side tonight. Yeah, and they have a capable group. They have a number of outstanding seniors led by Lavelle Scotty, who in conference play is averaging 17.5 a game. They also have Ryan Swan. Sid Tomes can fill it up. They are capable. They just got to put a whole game together. They do. They have 5 great seniors led by Lavelle Scotty, who by the end of the season, Drew, will have played in more games than anyone in Air Force Academy history. He's 6th on the all-time scoring list. He leads them in scoring and rebounding. He has had just a terrific season at the academy, not to mention a great career, and he's coming off his first double-double of the season. Yeah, he had 16 points, 13 rebounds in a close loss to San Diego State. And everybody knows what San Diego State has done so far this year. For Boise State, we mentioned they're playing well. They have a terrific senior we can brag on right now as well, Justinian Jessup. He can flat out shoot the basketball. In fact, he has shot it better from three-point range than anybody in the history of the conference. And that is saying a mouthful when you consider he just broke Jimmer Fredette all-time made three-point shot. In fact, he has become the only player in Mountain West Conference history to hit more than 300 made three-point shots. Plus, he leads the league in minutes played. He's a 5th leading scorer. He's having a terrific year as well. You told me way back you would have had about 300 threes if they had a line, right? Maybe. Yeah, somewhere around. Maybe you said 30. I forgot which it was. This will be fun. We're going to get up in the air next. Boise State hosting Air Force. Come on back to Boise, Idaho with us. Welcome back to Boise, Idaho. A few moments in front of our tilt tonight between the Academy and the Broncos. Here's the starting 5 for both schools. A little bit of a shakeup for Air Force. They're going to bring Russell Swan, or Ryan Swan, I should say, off the bench this evening. Lavelle Scotty will be the focal point. Chris Joyce is coming off a career-best night, 23 points against San Diego State. Derek Alston, second leading scorer in the Mountain West Conference. He combines with Justinian Jessup with that great 1-2 punch. And Alex Hobbs has notoriously been one of the best 6th men in the Mountain West Conference. He's in the starting lineup tonight. There is Dave Pilipovich. He has been at the Academy for 8 years. And on the other side, his good friend Leon Rice, 10 years leading the Boise State Broncos. Last year was a tough year for Boise State, but prior to that, 6 straight 20-plus win seasons for Coach Rice. It's been a great fit for him here in Boise. The Broncos will wear the home whites. Air Force wearing the blue road uniforms. Lavelle Scotty jumps it up with R.J. Williams. Boise State has it. We're underway. This is the 8th different lineup for the Falcons. A couple guys who started pretty much all year for them, Drew. A.J. Walker and Ryan Swan coming off the bench. But I know as a coach, when you lose 6 in a row, you're trying anything to kind of shake it up a little bit.
Good traffic rebound there by Chris Joyce off the miss by Justinian Jessup. So the 2nd and 3rd leading scorers, to your point, for Air Force, Swan and Walker will come off the bench. Lavelle Scotty.
Air Force had a very good offensive game in their loss against San Diego State. They were the first team since November to score over 70 points against the Aztecs.
It was a It was a 3-point game with just a few minutes left, and then San Diego State ended up pulling away. What a year the Aztecs are having.
Well, they hit a desperation 3 late in the shot clock, but when Air Force had cut it to just a couple points, and that kind of was the difference, and then they could never close the gap.
R.J. Williams threw it up. He got fouled. He'll get a couple of free throws. Kind of the unheralded senior, if you will, with this Boise State group. He does a lot of the blue-collar work underneath.
Yes, he does. He's kind of an inside-out guy, Drew. He's averaging 11 points. He's coming off a tough game. He fouled out with just 11 minutes played against Utah State, where they got beat up pretty good by the Aggies. Only had 4 points and 4 rebounds. In fact, both big guys for Boise fouled out, R.J. Williams and Robin George, in a game that Utah State shot 35 free throws.
That snapped the 5-game winning streak for Boise State.
You know, with A.J. Walker not in, Sid Tomes will be the point guard. He usually is the second guard, a kid that logged a lot of time and a lot of games for the academy, but pretty versatile, being able to play both guard positions.
That is a pretty move, but the layup was missed by Caleb Morris. He did everything right, but didn't finish.
Right at the basket. That's called $1 million move and a 2-cent shot.
He's going to get another opportunity here. That's a block shot, and it was clean. Ray J. Dennis got it before it hit the glass, evidently.
And he just came from nowhere at 6'2". You talk about closing the gap and getting out after it.
And 2 fouls on Van Solen. More free throws coming for Williams.
Look where Ray J. Dennis comes from. It had been very easy for him to give up on this play. Caleb Morris has had 2 of them right at the basket.
And that should have been goaltending.
Yes, it should have. But I'm glad you said it first, so they'll, you know, when the officials come over, I'll say I'm just following you on that.
Yeah, those are not easy calls, but
they're not.
It hit the glass first, and then the block came. I think Caleb Morris, though, is going to be upset with himself that he didn't have a little more urgency.
Go a little tougher. R.J. Williams has played in every game, 15 starts. This is the 8th different lineup of the year for Air Force Academy.
So Ryan Swan didn't start, but after about a minute 50, he's in the game and he's posting up.
He's in pretty quick. Ryan Swan had a 3-pointer to start the game against San Diego State, which put him at 1,000 points for his career, Drew, and never scored the rest of the night. He, as well, was in foul trouble. So both these teams suffered a lot of foul issues with their inside people in their last game. So 2,000-point-plus scores on the floor right now for Air Force with Swan and Lavelle Scott.
Dennis, I love competitors. Ray J. Dennis looks at, are you kidding me? How's that a foul? Well, that would have been.
That was a horse collar and a face mask.
I was going to say you'd have gotten flagged for 15 yards in the NFL or college football.
Sid Tomes, the leading free throw shooter on his team. In fact, a record setter on the fourth on the all-time free throw percentage list at the Air Force Academy.
Yeah, he's above 89% from the line.
And he's one of 3 guys in this lineup. We talked about the seniors in this lineup, Drew, that will leave with over 100 games to his credit. He's got 103. Lavelle Scotty with 121 and Ryan Swan at 96.
Here's Alex Hobbs. He can really drive the basketball, and he scores.
Alex Hobbs can really score. He's one of those guys that you heard the saying, he's not a great shooter, he's a great scorer. He can figure out how to make it go in.
Joyce looking for help. Scotty against Jessup. He gets trapped in the corner, and this is a backcourt violation. 5-2 Boise State. They'll have the basketball.
Not a great possession of half-court offense by Air Force, but the half-court defense of Boise State had quite a bit to do with that. Really on point, quick to the ball. Nothing came easy from man or pass from man-to-man in that half-court possession for Air Force.
Here's Alston. He gives it up. Dennis, the freshman. Good box out by Sid Tomes.
Air Force, I believe, then was in their 2-3 matchup zone. They do a pretty good job disguising that. Sometimes it's hard to figure out if they're in a man or that zone, but it looked like it was their 2-3 matchup.
Scotty jab steps and gives up the basketball. Shot clock down to 7. Good ball movement. Jessup out of the corner. He doesn't need a lot of room, does he?
No, he doesn't. And what a great touch pass by Derek Austin. That wasn't in his hand a heartbeat before he got it to Jessup over there. And as you say, Jessup at 6'7" with long arms, he can get it away in the closet.
Joyce missed badly. Second opportunity now for Air Force. Down 8-2. A.J. Walker, next whistle will come on for the Academy. Joyce, hard drive, and tapped that by Swan, controlled by Derek Alston.
Air Force has missed 3 of them right at the rim, Drew, and a wide open look at the three-point shot. They're just having a lot of trouble getting going offensively, obviously with just 2 points on the score.
You know, that's an understatement because those 2 points came from the line. They have not hit the floor yet. Dennis misses.
You know, Chris Joyce is coming off his career high, 23 points in the loss to San Diego State, to go along with his career high in assists at 5. And he hadn't even been in the vicinity yet.
Joyce going to try again, and that's woefully short. Out of bounds, timeout. 14:54 to go in the first half. Boise State. Justinian Jessup cashes a 3. They're up 6.
Leon's great. We get together and we talk quite a bit. He is older than I am. A couple months.
I think he's changing his birthday because I remember he used to be older. Now, listen, he's not.
He is the oldest, I would say.
Well, I've been in the league. I've been at Boise longer than he was at. Yes. So, but he was an assistant there, so that counts too. So.
But no, we've had some great games with Boise, and he's done a tremendous job there. What they've put together, and but he and I have grown our relationship over the years. It's been fun.
Do you know what, Joe Cravens? You coached for a long time. You're not going to find 2 finer gentlemen than Dave Pilipovich on the left and Leon Rice on the right. We always say this. This is a coaches' league. The Mountain West has always been a coaches' league. I go way back to the WAC days where there was premier. You know, you were at Utah with Rick Majerus. And you're not going to find, as I said, 2 better people in the coaching profession than Leon and Dave.
You know, it's refreshing to be around both of them, Drew. I was at both their shoot-arounds today. In this day and age, everyone gets caught up in won-loss records and what have you done for me lately. Sometimes we forget about factoring in the human element in there. And like as you said, 2 finer guys there's not in coaching, and it just makes you feel good to be around.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking to Dave and Leon today, and stuff they do in terms of molding young people, which is of great importance, not just lip service. It is of great importance to them because they realize, guess what? They're going to take your basketball sneakers away, and it's going to happen a lot sooner than most of the kids realize. Joyce, tough drive, and he kisses it off the glass. So the first field goal for Air Force comes at the 14-15 mark. The good news for the Academy, they're down just 4.
They were 0 for 7 before that. Chris Joyce, as I mentioned, coming off his career high 23 against a very defensive-minded San Diego State Aztecs. So maybe he can kind of get heated up here.
Alston is yet to score, and he misses A.J. Walker, such a dynamic guard for Air Force. He pulls down the rebound.
A.J. Walker's had a tough couple games, Drew. He is coming into this game only 2 for his last 15 field goal attempts. He had 7 points in their last game and only 2 versus Wyoming. And remember, he's the second leading scorer in the league, so he's kind of been in a little bit of a slump this last week.
Alston misses again, and that climbs over the backboard.
I buddy Jerry Sloan, the Hall of Fame coach of the Jazz, used to say, you just got to play your way out of it. And that's what Austin needs to do.
It's like a hitting slump in baseball. You're a huge baseball fan. You know that. I don't care who you are. Mike Trout. You name all the great ones. They're going to have their 1 for 15s.
Well, he does a lot more than just score for this Boise State team. He leads them in assists, and he's their second leading rebounder. He does more than just make points, but they do need his 18-5 a game that he's averaging to kind of finish this season off, and I think he'll get going. A.J. Walker, as you mentioned, did not start the last game. It's his first game all year that he didn't start. And Dave Filipovic said it wasn't so much due to his play. He just thought he was worn down and needed a little time off.
Jessup cleans up the mess for Boise State. 5 points for Justinian Jessup, 10-4 Boise State.
Speaking of a guy that does more in that open, it made it sound like he is just a catch and shoot guy. Now over 300 made three-point shots in the league, but he is a terrific defender. He's a good rebounder. He is a good all-round player.
On the floor, Walker was fouled. That'll be 2 on Dennis.
That's a nice hesitation move by A.J. Walker. As you said, he is one of the more dynamic point guards in the league, only a sophomore, and he has had some huge nights in his short 2-year career for the Cadets.
He can shoot it too. That one on the front iron, no good. Here's Alston the other direction. Jab, just had it ripped from behind. He normally starts. He had a hip pointer. He's coming off the bench tonight, number 24 in white. Transfer from Oregon.
I mentioned earlier, as bad as Air Force is offensively right now, they're the first team since November to score over 70 against the Aztecs.
That's a good sign right there.
And Drew, in that game, they shot almost 56%. They're having trouble tonight, so maybe that basketball Swan will get them going.
Yeah, Brian Swan with his first hoop. Here's Jessup, who's got that great jab step. And the mid-range jumper doesn't go. George pulled down the rebound, and he was fouled. Undercut a little bit by Sid Tomes. Another stoppage in play. 10-6 Broncos at home. Mountain West basketball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Steel. Find your Steel dealer at steeldealers.com. (10-6) Boise State.
Low scoring affair here, Drew. Boise State 3 of 12 and shooting 25%. The Academy 2 for 11, 18%. And we have played almost 9 minutes.
And a careless turnover. Alston a little bit too tall for Jessup.
Their second turnover of the game. Turnovers haven't been a big factor. It's just lack of making the ball go in has been a big factor.
Yeah, I mean, Air Force is not, they're normally like clockwork on offense. In fact, the first half of the season, they were one of the top shooting teams, not only in the Mountain West, but in college basketball, from three-point range and from overall. They're off to a very slow start, but Boise State, they're just one of their last 8.
Now, Boise State's defense has been very, very good. Air Force has kind of confused the Broncos a little bit with that matchup 2-3 zone. I want you to watch Justinian Jessup on defense. Now, he's one of the top steals guy in the league. In fact, he's 4th, but he is a very, very good defender.
Ryan Swan, Mika competed for it for Air Force, comes away to Boise State. And A.J. Walker buys that foul.
Kejab, the transfer from Oregon, who just became eligible at the break, has had a huge impact on this team.
He's averaging 13 a game, but he hurt his hip against Utah State, had only 10 minutes action, scored 3 points.
He's a little bit of a tough matchup. He's not really a classic small forward, nor is he a big forward. He's just a guy that you got to figure out who's going to guard him.
He's physical. Jessup leans in.
And uncharacteristic for Jessup. He was kind of drifting to his left on that. Usually he really has great balance in his shot.
That's a travel. That basket will not count. So Lavelle Scotty still without a hoop. And we're almost halfway home in the first half.
Well, that was good post defense by the kid I just talked about, Key Jab. You hear me say all the time on these broadcasts, the key to great post defense is just stay down and make the guy try to score over you, and that's what Key Jab did.
Boise State's 3 out of 13. Air Force 2 out of 12. So if George misses a layup, that's fitting. Right now, if they were at a shooting gallery at a carnival, all the stuffed animals would still be on the shelf.
Oh, there we go.
Lavelle Scotty from deep.
His first basket of the game, a 6th all-time leading score for Air Force. Nice trail jump shot there. The last guy down the floor and just stepped into that jump shot.
Key jab hits. That's the first time we've had consecutive hoops on both ends of the floor. Now Air Force turns it over. 12-9, Boise State.
Drew, I had Air Force over in the Bahamas, 3 games in a tournament there to kind of start the season, and Lavelle Scotty was their first preseason first-team pick since way back in 2006 by Jacob Berkey, and I really thought he was feeling a lot of pressure to prove himself and really forcing it, taking some ill-advised shots. I think he's really slowed down and let the game come to him since about that time, about Christmas time.
There's Key Jab. He's so physical, he ends up getting it back. Williams fed him the basketball, and he laid it up and in.
Nice pass by R.J. Williams. That wasn't a fancy pass. It was just the right pass.
Jessup in transition. Here's Hobbs. That barely drew iron.
Great pass by Hobbs, a left-hand baseline pass. I'm not sure that was a great shot by Key Jab, but a guy can score like him. Sometimes you got to kind of bite your lip as a head coach. Let him take a questionable shot here and there.
Nika, and which way? That'll be a block. One of the things about Air Force, it's not unusual for a team to be better at home. The comforts of home, we understand it. But in the case of Dave Pilipovich's team, it's a dramatic difference. 14 points more at home. The shooting percentage at above 50%, down around 41%. I mean, huge disparity between what they're doing at home and out on the road. And out on the road, they're 3 and 6.
You know, and I guarantee you, if Coach Pilipovich could figure that out, he would can it and sell it to every coach in America and get out of coaching and buy a yacht and live on it, because those are the things as a coach that I always said, Drew, you should be either a psychologist or psychiatrist and then get into coaching, because there's a whole lot of things going on and it's very tough to figure out with your team.
Mika Kaya with both free throws. It's a 3-point game.
Mika Kaya coming off an 8-point game. He got all the minutes that Ryan Swan had to set out because of early foul trouble, and had a pretty good game.
Jessup, size advantage on Walker. He gives it up. Dennis out of the corner.
Nice pass by Jessup. We talked about him being 6'7" with long arms, able to not only shoot it over the defense, but you saw there, able to pass it over the defense.
Mason Taylor battling an illness for several weeks.
Well, he's been involved. He's the most productive freshman on this Air Force team. You'll see a lot of him down the road.
Ray J. Dennis out of Oswego, Illinois, lays it up.
Little breakdown in transition defense. It's a little harder at Air Force transitioning back to that 2-3 zone when you don't have someone out there picking the ball.
How about Amika Kaya giving Air Force a lift? 5 off the bench.
Going. I said he had a pretty good game in their loss against San Diego State. 8 points and 4 rebounds for the junior. And he's had some injury issues as well. You know, I've talked about this before. This Air Force team kind of gets beat down with the academy life a little bit and are real prone to injury.
R.J. Williams, a 3-point opportunity. We'll get the free throw when we come back. Hasn't been pretty, but it's close. 18, 16, 14 right now. 18-14 the score. Boise State, we shorted them 2 points. They're up 4. R.J. Williams going to have a 3-point opportunity. Here he is kind of bulling his way to the basket. That's what he's done throughout his career. Hard playing senior from Los Angeles. Last year he averaged 9.5 and 4.5. This year averaging 11.5 and 8 rebounds.
He's having a good year. He's got 7 double-doubles this year, Drew. He's one of only 3 players in the Mountain West Conference with at least 7 double-doubles. And he does exactly what you talked about. He's just a hard-nosed handful and a great finisher around the basket. He's got great balance around the basket, as he just demonstrated.
He's unheralded because, you know, the headlines here in Boise go to Derek Alston, go to Justinian Jessup, and you understand why. Abu Kijab, he's getting a lot of attention, naturally, the transfer from Oregon. And every night, you mark down 11, 12, 13 points, 8, 9, 10 rebounds for R.J. Williams. And that was rather easy for A.J. Walker.
Would you call that a defensive breakdown, or did someone just pass out and had to be revived?
What happened on Sunday, Coach? The Oscars. That was the red carpet treatment.
That was the red carpet treatment.
Hobbs. And Swan runs down the rebound.
Pass out of the low post by Williams. That's called a long X pass. Coaches call that out of the post.
You know, there's no way Leon Rice or Dave Pilipovich are pleased with what's going on offensively. But if you're Dave Pilipovich in particular, as poorly as they were executing, you look up on a scoreboard, 5:55 to go in the first half, you're down 1. You have to be thrilled.
1-point game. You know, something to talk about how hard it is to figure your team out sometimes. Great step back by Jessup that obviously didn't go in. Boise State's got the number 4 ranked team in the nation in their next game, and it'd be real easy for them to be looking ahead right now. I don't know if that's the case or not, but it could be.
I would doubt it for 2 reasons. One, that's unlike Coach Wright's team, right? Number one, you and I both understand that. And number 2, all you need to do is put on the tape. There's Williams again. Put on the tape 3 weeks ago. Air Force beat you 83-78.
Right. You would think. You would think. What a play by R.J. Williams. He steals it, literally just picks Lavelle Scotty's pocket, takes the length of the court, and then does that little pirouette again and plays through a hit. What a terrific finish there. You know, some guys get hit like that and drop their chin and go away from contact. R.J. Williams, it looks like he just relishes contact.
Well, on a night where Derek Alston's shooting woes continue, R.J. Williams is helping out the cause on that offensive end. He's got 8 points. In fact, he's the leading scorer in the game.
He's only a 64% free throw shooter, but those last couple have done nothing but hit the net.
Drake Nixon's got a call.
He was right on top of that, an offensive foul on Ryan Swan. I think after that ball screen, rolling to the basket, that was a big emphasis last year. If the player goes under you on that ball screen and your roll keeps him from getting back to his man, that's an offensive foul, and I think that's what happened.
Here's Alston, and he gets ripped by Walker. Good decision by Walker. The trail is Swan, and his 3 is too strong. James Rice, number 12, out on the floor for Boise State. The son of, one of the sons of, Leon Rice, who had a tremendous career at Bishop Kelly High School here in Boise. Three-time All-State player.
He's got one of those guys that can score a lot of points as well. He's a good shooter, but he's a heck of a scorer, and will be much more down the road here. This senior class graduate, he'll be
Williams, wow, upstairs,
wow,
and it counts. Yeah, you can flex after that one.
Wow. R.J. Williams putting the Broncos on his very broad shoulders and carrying them offensively, Drew.
Lavelle Scotty gets the foul. 18 fouls now. Over the limit are the Falcons. The 18th dunk for Williams, as you see on the dunk meter. He's number 1 with Boise State. Another three-point play.
The season high is 21. And he's well on his way to that right now.
7-point lead. And Scotty got hit.
Foul on post defense on Jessup then.
It's the first on Justinian, who's a Colorado kid. He's from Longmont.
Yep.
Air Force recruited him.
Well, he is chasing the all-time games played in a career record as we speak here. He has started every game. I'm sorry, he's not started every game. He's played every game since he's been here. He's one of only 4 freshmen to start their very first game at Boise State. He started and played every game as a freshman. He seems like he's been here forever and a day, Drew.
That foul also on Jessup, so 2 quick ones on Jessup. And to the scorer's table goes Marcus Dickinson. We're going to get Jessup out with 4:01 to play.
Well, that's a good move. I was talking about how many games he has started. Specifically, he has started 114 of his 122 games.
Some kind of career.
He's had a great career.
Caleb Morris with his first point. Senior from Vista, California, 25-19.
5 seniors on this Air Force team.
Boy, Boise State cannot throw it in the ocean from deep. That's a walk. 3:45 left in the first half. 25-19, Boise State. Well, we have a big congratulations tonight. I am thrilled at this news. The only guy I know who's more thrilled about it is the guy sitting next to me. Joe Craven's going into the Utah Sports Hall of Fame. So well deserved. I want to give you a hard time about this. I mean, was it a light year or something? But that's
bad
awesome,
year
man.
for candidates. Bad year for candidates, Drew. Obviously, I'm thrilled and very honored. When I got word of that last week, you were one of the first guys that knew about it. In fact, it's not even been announced yet. So
now it has.
Now it has, I guess. But a great honor, not for me, but for my whole family. As you know, it's a family deal when you're a coach. But again, I'm very honored.
Let me tell you what, it is well deserved.
Thank you.
I am thrilled for you.
Thank
and
you.
Linda and the girls. That is awesome, man.
Thank you
That is
very
awesome.
much.
Good
Thank
for
you
you.
very much.
Do you need help with your speech?
Well, yes, I do. As a matter, you know why? They said you can only give a 3-minute speech. You know me, how long I talk.
That's okay. I know you're going to be entertaining. Air Force has a chance to tighten things up a little bit more.
You know, you'd kind of describe this as an ugly game, which I think works in Air Force's favor because Boise State can really get going offensively and kind of distance themselves pretty quick. So this half court and a low-scoring game, without a doubt, it favors Air Force, I think.
And, Coach, it's such a strange game. There's been no fluidity either way, as we have discussed. Lavelle Scotty, who we know can fill it up, he's got 3 points as he goes to the line. Derek Alston's the second leading scorer in the conference. He doesn't have anything.
You know,
Justinian Jessup has 5. That came real early, and a couple fouls. He's watching.
The only guy that looks like he's out there playing by himself is R.J. Williams with 12 points. And he's gone 3 for 3 from the field and 6 of 7 from the free throw line.
A.J. Walker, who's one of the top sophomores in the conference, he's got a bucket. That's it.
Well, as I said in the open, if this was baseball season, we would say these are the dog days, and it kind of looks like it the way both teams are playing right now.
Yeah, you know, it looks like one of those October scrimmages, right, when you were coaching.
It does. Well, coming out of that timeout, Air Force was shooting 33%, and Boise State 34%. Air Force has not helped themselves. I didn't realize this. They have 8 turnovers, Drew.
No team can afford. There's Dickinson. He was left alone, and the veteran knocks it down. He's 18th triple of the year. No team can afford to turn it over at a high rate. But Air Force really can't because they don't force a lot of turnovers. They're near the bottom of the league in terms of forced turnovers, just a little more than 11 a game.
Well, they're an execution team. They have to be right on the money in their half-court offense, and that's where they try to beat you. But if you've got 8 empty turnovers, 8 empty possessions, I mean, with 8 turnovers, yeah, that's the reason. Even though they're only down 7, that's hurt them tonight. Remember, they missed a couple right at the basket. Caleb Morris, 2 of them right at the basket early on.
That shot off from Caleb Morris. 28-21. Inside 2.5 to go. Here's Hobbs. Dickinson tries again. The last one was better looking than this one.
A lot better because the last one went in and that one did not draw iron. 2 senior veterans out there now for Boise State, and Dickinson and Derek Austin. They've played a lot of minutes here for the Broncos in the last 4 years. Along with George, the other senior.
Boy, that's a great move. Just Sid Tomes left it a little bit short.
Tomes 1 right at the basket. We talked about Caleb Morris's 2 right at the basket. 1 got blocked on a terrific
T-Jab walk.
Terrific athletic play by Ray J. Dennis, but Air Force has had their opportunities in and around the basket.
You made a great point a few moments ago. Whenever you make a great point, I always write it down. So I have like 3 notes over the last 10
I was going to say, that's a very small notebook.
But you were talking about A.J. Walker, and really all cadets. He's a sophomore. He's a phenomenal student. You got to be a phenomenal student to get in the academy. A.J.'s a phenomenal student. And you start going, all right, they're up before 6 a.m. every day, and the military commitments, the 18-plus credit hours. Oh, by the way, I'm playing major college basketball. And you noted that they wear down.
Sure they
maybe more so than other kids at other schools.
Well, when you look at any Division I team's statistical sheet, Drew, you'll see in 90% of the cases that the guy who gets the most minutes on that team is their point guard. And it's that way with Air Force. A.J. Walker's averaging 30.1 minutes. And remember, he's only sophomore. Those guys get wore down. And I guarantee you, I would say 90% of college teams, their point guard plays more minutes than anyone else in the game.
Here's George. And he flips it in. Anything he gives you offensively is a bonus. Big-bodied senior from Berlin, Germany.
Well, that's too low of a catch there. If he catches it with that big body that close to the basket, chances are it's going to be a basket. He caught that with 2 feet in the paint.
Mika pulls up, and Alston ends up with the basketball. 1 minute to go in the first half. 30-23. Boise State by 7. Jessup out on the floor.
Jessup with a couple quick early baskets on the floor with 2 fouls and has been quiet since early. Nice decision by A.J. Walker there, backing it out and going for the last shot. Dave Pilipovich using his use it or lose it timeout there to try to get a momentum bucket, Drew. If they could score here and be down 5 going into halftime, I think they'll feel pretty good about things.
Well, Joe, they've had 2 significant droughts. We're talking, they didn't score a bucket until the 14-15 mark of the game.
Yes.
They've now gone, and they're hanging in there. To your point, they've gone 5.5 minutes.
Wow.
Without the ball going in the hole, other than the free throws from Lavelle Scotty.
No, and as you said, when you're fighting uphill, so to speak, as they have been, their turnovers and those long stretches. And Drew, their last 3 shots have all been within 6 feet of the basket. Now, they're college shots. I mean, it's not like you're in the gym by yourself shooting them, but those have got to go in for you to compete at this level.
Let's see what Air Force gets here. Trying to hang out for the final possession.
Nice move.
Not a bad option right there. Lavelle Scotty. Here's Walker.
The Broncos came out
and
in
an offensive foul called on Walker.
I thought that was a great move by the Boise State bench there. They haven't played 1 possession of zone the entire game, Drew, and came out in a 2-3 zone and really kind of changed things up. Now, a substitution situation here. Justinian Jessup, who had been out because he had 2 fouls. Now Boise State's going to get the last shot, so they put Justinian Jessup back in the game.
I mean, it could be huge. They hit a 3 here. You're talking about a 10-point lead.
Well, I talked about a momentum basket for Air Force. If they score there, they go down 5 to the locker room and feel good about things. Now all of a sudden, Leon Rice throws that zone out there, throws them a curve. Now Boise State's going to get the last shot, and that could be a huge momentum shift. A little chess match going on with the coaches that are good friends.
3-point shooting's been non-existent in this game for 2 schools that typically shoot it well from downtown. Air Force 2 out of 11. Boise State 2 for 13.
That's not very good.
No.
You know, I didn't even more calculate that out, but but I know that's not very good.
Yeah, you don't need the exact numbers. You know it. That's not good.
Yeah, that ain't good.
Jessup on the right wing, Hobbs on the far left wing.
And they did, in fact, run a set play for Jessup.
2 to shoot it. Jessup got it off, and it is in and out.
In and out.
30-23 at the break. Boise State, not their best offensive first half, but they're up 7.
Well, you know, if you're Boise State and you shot it this bad and you're up 7, you got to feel pretty good. And if you're Dave Pilipovich and you not shot it very good and you're only down 7, one of these teams are going to heat up. This has kind of been an ugly Betty first half.
Well, coming up at the half, we'll hear from some Mountain West players on which NBA player they would like to be for a day. Stay tuned to Mountain West basketball right here on AT&T Sportsnet. 30-23, Broncos leading the Falcons at halftime. Back in Boise, Idaho on a most pleasant evening. Boise State at home, leading 30-23 over the Air Force Academy. Back courtside, I'm Drew Goodman. Well, if you play college basketball, heck, if you play high school basketball, middle school basketball, I'm sure every time you dribble, you think of your favorite NBA player. So who would some of the stars around the Mountain West aspire to be if they could be one day in the NBA? Jenny Kavnar posed that question earlier this season.
If you could be one player in the NBA for a day, who would you be and why?
LeBron James.
LeBron James.
LeBron James. Is that even a question?
LeBron. Growing up, that's who I looked up to, who I always watched playing, and he's probably my favorite basketball player.
To me, he is redefining what a player should be like. He uses his platform to do many other things besides just play basketball.
I need to be Kawhi Leonard. Just kind of hangs out and does his own thing and never really switched up.
It's weird, but I probably would pick Kawhi just because everyone kind of just like, he's Kawhi and everyone just kind of leaves him alone. He has all the money, you know, he's in the NBA, superstar, and just just because of his demeanor, nobody really bothers him. So I'd probably pick Kawhi.
Kawhi, because quiet dude. I would like to see how he goes about his whole day. I know he works hard, but I want to see off the court stuff, see what he likes to do.
Stephen Curry, because who wouldn't want to be able to be the greatest shooter of all time?
Steph Curry, I feel like he gets to shoot whatever shot he wants.
I would want to be a big guy, so I don't know, maybe Anthony Davis or someone. I've been short on the basketball court my whole life, so it'd be cool to know what it's like to be tall and do all the tall guy things.
Russell Westbrook, I see a lot of myself in him. Plays hard, leaves it all out on the floor.
I would be James Harden, and because he's the best player in the league.
How about this? Is this a little James Harden?
Yeah,
something?
I'm trying. Mine is not really, it doesn't go how his is, but I'm trying.
I would be Joe Harris for the Brooklyn Nets. He runs off a lot of screens, you know. I like his play style, and yeah, he's fun to watch.
I'd probably say C.J. McCollum. I like his game a lot. He just seems like a really cool dude, works hard and stuff, and yeah, he's a guy I kind of model my game after.
So early on, that guy named LeBron got seemingly every vote, and then we saw some diversity in the names mentioned. I'm going to go with Steph Curry because he can flat out shoot it, as you know. That's fun stuff. We'll come back 30-23 at the break. Boise State leading the Air Force Academy. Whoa, adorable. Hello there. Boise State, traditionally tough at home. This year, no different. They're 11-1 at Extra Mile Arena. With the soon-to-be Hall of Famer from the state of Utah, Joe Cravens. I'm Drew Goodman. You shot it better when you were at UTA, didn't you?
Wow, left-handed I shot it better. Air Force 28% from the field. Boise State 32%, and they have combined to go 4 of 24 from the three-point line. Let's challenge into a game of horse.
Right now's the time, but you also made this observation. Both of these schools shoot it too well for this to continue for 40 minutes, especially with the stars. Derek Alston, he hasn't scored, and Lavelle Scotty, most of his stuff has come from the line.
Derek Alston's 0 for 5, Drew, in the last 5 halves. He is 2 for 20. He's really struggling from the field, but he's the game's leading rebounder at 6, so he's playing hard. He's just having trouble making it go in. Lavelle Scotty, the same thing.
I don't know how many people would have said the leading scorer at halftime in this game is R.J. Williams. No knock on R.J., but there's so many gifted offensive players out there, but it's been R.J. Williams who's done a lot of this, just making his way to the hoop and drawing contact.
Well, he's 3 of 3 from the field, 6 of 7 from the free throw line, and all 3 baskets he's made have been through contact or over someone. As you just saw, none of them have been easy, but he has carried the load offensively for the Broncos.
Here's what jumps out at me. Obviously, the shooting percentage, nobody can hit a 3. It is plus 11 in shot attempts favoring Boise State because of the Air Force turnovers. 9 turnovers in the first half. Boise State, they didn't shoot it well, but they took care of the basketball. They had only 4. You get 11 more shots, even if you don't shoot a high percentage, you're going to have the lead. 9
turnovers is just killing Air Force, but as I said, they go into halftime only down 7 after shooting 28% with 9 turnovers. You got to think, if you're Dave Filipovic, it's got to get better this half.
Yep. So we have that second half on the menu next. It's a 7-point game at the break. Boise State leading 30-23. Back for more right after this. Seven-point lead for Boise State as we are set to go in the second half. If you had, half a dozen words of wisdom on both sides, what would they be?
Let's try to make a few more baskets this half, fellas. How's that for an intellectual adjustment?
You dug deep for that, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
See if the lineups change at all. They do not. Air Force is going to go with the same group that started, which means Ryan Swan and A.J. Walker will come off the bench. Alex Hobbs for Boise State, who's made a career as an outstanding six-man. He is starting the second half. He started the basketball game.
That guy there, Chris Joyce, is coming off his career high 23, only 1 for 4 in that first half. And you hit it right on the head, Drew. Just no flow in that first half. Everything seemed kind of disjointed.
And that crawls over the rim and drops. And if one school needed to have a successful first possession, it was Air Force. They cut it to 5 on that little baby jumper by Tomes. Alston hits, and that's a great sign for the Broncos.
Austin, who was 0 for 5 and 2 for his last 20 field goal attempts in the last 5 halves, may have gotten the monkey off his back with that.
Again, we're talking about the second leading scorer in the conference.
And he's led the league almost all year until he's only had 9 points in these last 2 games. Mired in that shooting scene.
5 to shoot it, and under duress, that shot is way off for Lavelle Scotty.
I talked about Justinian Jessup, what an outstanding defender. Look how active he is with his hands when his man gets the ball.
Van Solen ends up with the basketball on that shot that was blocked by, on the attempt by Hobbs. Then another turnover for Air Force. Here's Dennis, he's fouled from behind. That'll be on Sid Tomes.
Okay, Tomes almost made a terrific pass on that break, but an almost terrific pass gets you a turnover. 10 turnovers now for Air Force. Both teams coming out, though, hitting their first shot of the half, which is good news for both head coaches after that horrible shooting half for both teams.
Down to single digits on the shot clock. Here's Hobbs. Alston, he's got to put a shot up. He never got it out of his hand. Well, they let it go, but that ball, I think, was still in his hand. How much of this is poor shooting? How much is backdoor cut? And how much is both schools know each other's patterns so well? Scotty.
I think there's a little bit to that, Drew. I think both teams, Air Force has been in and out of that 2-3 matchup, and I think that's kind of got the Broncos back on their heels a little bit. But you make a very valid point. It's almost mid-February. There's not a whole lot of secrets anymore. And I talked to Leon Rice about Derek Austin's poor shooting the last 2 games. He said, hey, all of a sudden you're the leading scoring guy in the league. You're going to start getting quite a bit of special attention. And so a great point by you. Not a lot of secrets this time of year.
Hobbs gets a ball screen. Here's Alston. He gets a good look for 3. And it's tapped outside.
And R.J. Williams, a terrific play there, going up in the crowd to tap that out.
Dennis, a little runner. Ray J. Dennis. 8-point lead.
Joyce is a talented offensive player. He sustained a really serious ankle injury in the Bahamas in that Junkaloo Jam tournament where A.J. Walker was all tournament. But he has always been a very, very good offensive player, mostly off the bench in his career.
He's really athletic. He can get off the floor. Jessup kicks it outside. Alston. Found a little rhythm there.
Yeah, nice move by Austin. He could have let that 3 go and it had been a decent shot, but he struggled from there, took it to mid-range, and really made a nice move there. And I thought nice recognition mentally more than anything by Austin.
It's going to go on Walker. That's 3 on AJ.
Talked about A.J. Walker being all tournament at that Junkanoo Jam in the Bahamas. He was outstanding there.
Ooh, that's a rolled ankle by R.J. Williams. Hopefully he's okay. He was out of bounds, so it's a turnover. He's going to hobble to the bench. 15:59 to go second half. Boise State by 8. Let's look at that play on the baseline again. R.J. Williams, and see if we can figure what happened. Hobbs is going to feed him the basketball, and you know what? I think he just he didn't roll the ankle. He just hit a slick spot.
I think he did.
And he is back on the floor, so he's okay.
And I'm not even sure it was his ankle he hurt. It might have been his knee, the way he kind of slipped there. That was a little set play to bring him to the block. And like you said, Drew, I think he just hit a slick spot on the floor. Boise State now picking up full court, forcing the issue a little bit, so to speak.
I like this move by Leon Rice. I mean, Air Force been out of sorts offensively, and a nice spot to utilize. 94 feet of pressure.
I agree. Air Force with 10 turnovers. They had 9 at halftime, and they've done that just against half-court defense. I think that was a pretty good roll of the dice call by Leon Rice and his staff.
Alston picked up the foul. The Air Force typically executes so well. We talked about it in the first half. At the Academy, they are shooting above 50% this year. That'll count. Lavelle Scotty and Justinian Jessup just bought his 3rd. That is a big sequence right there.
That is a big sequence, and nice job by Scotty. Big and strong, sawmill strong around the basket there. Lavelle Scotty, the 6th all-time leading scorer at the Air Force Academy. As we said in the open, Drew, when the season is over, he will have played more games than anyone in the history of the Academy.
Alston with 8 points here in the second half after being shut out in the first.
Nice rhythm there by Austin, I thought. A little step back, inside out dribble, and
well, that's going to count. And then a foul on Kejab. Well, you again, I want to go back to something you said. Both of these schools can shoot the rock, right? And you said there's no way they're going to be another 20 minutes at 28% from the floor.
And coming out of that timeout, both teams had shot 50. Boise State 50% and Air Force 60%, and they've both hit a couple shots since then. So we saw that coming. Neither team could be as bad as what they were in the first half.
So a bonus possession after the 3 ball by Walker. And now away from the basketball. This is also going to be on Boise State. Bob Staffen, the veteran official, is going to get Kejab again.
Now Boise State's coming off a game, Drew, where Utah State shot 35 free throws against them to Boise State's 19.
Which is unusual because Boise State this year from the free throw line has typically outscored the opposition.
And Joyce with the 3.
Now it's a 2-point game. How about that?
And not only is it a 2-point game, Boise State in a little bit of foul trouble now.
Jessup staying out there with the 3. And a push from Dickinson. He's hit a couple of 3s. So Marcus Dickinson. He plays far less this year as a senior than he did as a junior. He's 11th in minutes played in the conference last year. Joyce going to try again. Here's Dickinson out of Norman, Oklahoma. Williams may have gotten away with the travel. Jessup down the lane. He gives it up. Good pass. Kejab out of the corner. Boy, that's a tough break. Yeah, you're wondering what happened there. That's a good foul by Lavelle Scotty on Kejab.
If there's ever an example of an unforced turnover, it's that. I think Joyce simply tripped there. And boy, that's a tough break for Air Force Academy.
That looked like a guy coming out of a bar at 1 in the morning overserved.
I'm just glad you did say that looked like me coming out of a bar. I know you were thinking that.
No. Wouldn't do that. So Kejab. You know, it's interesting. This is how tough a job it is for Dave Pilipovich. Abu Kijab went to Oregon out of high school, and then he transferred to Boise State. Well, Air Force couldn't have got him either time because he's from Canada, number one. So obviously he can't go to the United States Air Force Academy. And number two, you can't transfer into the academy. That whole portal we always talk about, that's for everybody else, not for the academies.
Right. It's an unbelievably tough job and a small pool of players there recruited from and no JUCOs, obviously.
Yeah.
You don't go to Hutchinson Junior College and get a future Falcon out of there.
Nope. Lead back to 7 for Boise State.
And Drew, the other very valid point you always make about the job at Air Force Academy, the other two academies played in the Patriot League. You know, a decent little basketball league, but it's not the Mountain West Conference.
Not the Mountain West.
Which is a very, very good basketball.
Here's Van Solen.
It was a 2-point game about 3 minutes ago, and now back to
that
7.
Went off of Caleb Morris out of bounds. Another turnover. Good job denying the entry pass by 34, Alex Hobbs.
And anytime I used to tell my players that you feel like you have to spin it in there to make a catch, that's not a good thing. Don't throw that. Throw it to somebody else.
That works at Foursquare.
Yeah, exactly. That was not, it doesn't help when you just kind of get it in the vicinity. It has to go right to the guy.
12 turnovers for Air Force, just 5 on the Broncos.
Air Force has been, I think, the entire game in this 2-3 matchup. As I say, sometimes it's tough to tell. They do a good job of disguising it, but I think, and Dave Pelbovich even told me today they were going to play a lot of this matchup. It's not the defensive end that has been their issues. It's holding on to the ball long enough to get a shot and make it go in.
Yeah, this is a significant foul on A.J. Walker. That's number 4. 13:08 to go. A.J. Walker, third leading scorer, starting point guard typically for Air Force. Didn't start tonight with 4 fouls.
That was a little isolation play called for Kijab out of that end out of bounds play, an elbow isolation.
Yeah, that's just tough pass. Wow. It's just too many bodies in there. Right? Caleb Morris trying to make something happen where there's too many white jerseys. 13 turnovers for the Falcons.
It has to go right to the guy. It can't go in the vicinity when there's a whole bunch of guys wearing a different color jersey in particular around. So that's back-to-back turnovers and pretty much unforced turnovers. Oh, my.
And that'll be on George.
George trying to push off. When you're that size, it's hard to disguise a push off there. George just, and I don't think he even understands or believes he did that, but he did. But when you're 6'11", 245, it's tough to hide there.
Yeah, he's like the left tackle, big left tackle. Ryan Swan. Air Force got to get somebody else going on the Lavelle Scotty. Scotty's getting a break right now. Swan and Caleb Morris, perhaps. Or Joyce. That 3, not close. Here's Hobbs in transition.
Joyce hit that first little handoff to 3 and he missed his last 2.
Air Force has gone 3 minutes without scoring. Here's Amika. He does things that impresses me. He's got a little R.J. Williams in him, doesn't he?
Well, he's an undersized post guy, 6'6", 215, but he's pretty handy around the basket. He's a good finisher, and he really knows how to use his body for leverage around the block.
Alston. And he went out of bounds. Timeout on the floor, 11:35. Nothing decided in Boise. 45-40 Broncos at home. Mountain West basketball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Moab. Begin your adventure. Plan your trip today at discovermoab.com. And by Mako, visit your local Mako and turn the car you drive into the car you love. With Joe Cravens, I'm Drew Goodman from Boise, Idaho. Mountain West basketball, 45-40. The Broncos trying to improve to 9-5 in the conference. And you made this notation early in the broadcast. There's a chance Boise State, if they finish in a positive fashion, could end up second going to the conference tournament. Obviously, there's a lot more basketball left to be played. Colorado State has a big tilt with Utah State tonight. But it's going to be interesting as to who finishes next after San Diego State.
We are definitely in the stretch run, Drew, so every game looms big, especially for the Broncos trying to finish in that number 2 spot. Broncos come out of that timeout in their 2-3 zone. And very active in it, I might add.
Good look for Caleb Morris, who's a 47% three-point shooter, but as much as it's gone all night for Air Force, they can't throw it in the ocean from deep. This guy typically can. Jessup misses.
He has had a hard time.
He's just 1 of 5 from deep. 2 of 8 overall. Amika.
Air Force is still right there. It's still only a 5-point game.
George offensive rebound.
Air Force has done a nice job of locating Justinian Jessup in the zone.
Hobbs, little pull-up jumper. He has scored 39 points his last 2 games coming into tonight. That's just his 2nd bucket. At the half, by the way, Utah State in Fort Collins leading the Rams 37-30.
Great individual defense by Jessup there out of that 2-3 zone, guarding the drive. Wow.
And that's a guy they need to get going, Caleb Morris.
He's
2
had
good
some,
looks
yes,
from 3.
Yes, he's had great looks. One of the best 3-point shooters in the history of Air Force Academy, and boy, he has trouble making it going in tonight.
Yep, he's 0 for 6 from the floor tonight.
Remember early in the game, he missed one right at the basket. Then he missed a breakaway that Ray J. Dennis made a great play on, but he's missed 3 other wide open looks today.
That's his 2nd.
Justinian Jessup, as we said, 1 for 5. He's had 7 games this year, Drew, where he's made 5 or more 3-point shots. He's had 1 game where he made 7. But he's having a hard time finding the range tonight. Give Air Force a little credit for that. Again, they've done a great job of locating him in their zone. Not a great shot, I don't think, by Kijab there. He was open. Just because you're open doesn't mean it's a great shot.
Carter Murphy, for the first time tonight, on the floor for Air Force. Dave Pilipovich trying to find somebody to help him out. Got the guys in foul trouble. Lavelle Scotty just came off the bench, and he hits again. He's got 14.
That was not only an outstanding shot, that was an outstanding place to find a shot against that 2-3.
Dickinson all the way to the lid. Marcus Dickinson with 8 off the bench tonight for Leon Rice.
He's been good.
42.
He's been good off the bench tonight. He's a kid that started 32, 33 games last year, but he has kind of turned into a spark plug off the bench for the Broncos this year.
Lavelle Scotty on the repost.
Come on, man. Watch Dickinson getting there not only in a hurry, but boy, strong with the ball there. Great concentration there.
4 fouls on Kijab. Van Solen is going to come in for Kaya.
Both teams going pretty deep to their bench. Both teams played 9 guys in the first half. Now I think they've stretched that to 10 different guys on both teams.
A.J. Walker with 4 fouls. He's brought Back out. Murphy.
Once again, a good look. Just could not make it go down. I always say this about Dave Pilpovich. He always looks good. I mean, he's always neat as a pin.
Good cut by Alston. 10 all in the second half for Alston. Lead to 9 for Boise State.
And when he makes a good cut, Drew, he is so long. It doesn't take him but a blink of the eye to be right at the rim.
Yeah, it takes him a while to get his three-point shot off, but you're right, around the basket, that's offensive. That's on Lavelle Scott.
Good defense by Austin there, as I say. Just stay down, stay between your man and the basket.
He draws a lot of attention from NBA scouts for me, and I love how hard this kid's worked. He's gained literally 80 pounds since he arrived as a walk-on out of Houston. But you know, there's still tremendous growth in front of him physically. And he's a guy I think he's got to come back.
No question. He weighed 146 pounds when he came here as a freshman. Can you imagine how thin I mean, he's thin now. At that time, he was just a whisper.
Yep. And he's kind of taken over now, which he can do. He's got a dozen. And the lead jumps to 11 for Boise State. Timeout for Air Force. Broncos trying to take control of this game with 7:35 left. Well, Derek Alston shut out in the first half, but in the second half, he has gone off for a dozen points. And it's so great when you're having a bad shooting night, either individually or collectively, and your coach, you know, that's okay. We have a guy go get us 15 or 18 or 20 and a half. There aren't many of those guys running around.
No. He was on a 2 for his last 20 field goal attempts, Drew, going over 5 halves. He was 0 for 5 in the first half, and he is now 5 of 8, and as you mentioned, 12 points and 6 rebounds. And I like the adjustment he has made in his offensive approach, where he was kind of catching and shooting jump shots in the first half. Now he started attacking the basket, moving without the ball. He's hit a couple short range, pull-up jump shots. So when that ball's not going in for you, you got to do something a little bit harder or a little bit different, and I think he's made that adjustment this half.
What Air Force needs is some of their good looks to go down here if they're to stay in contact with Boise State on the road. Shot clock down to 5. Van Solen and a reach-in foul on Williams.
Wow, and R.J. Williams really let him off the hook on that. Van Solen caught it with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Man, and he got his money's worth on that hack too, but Air Force still within shouting distance, but they're going to have to get it done down 11.
Boise State enjoying an 11-point lead on their home floor, trying to improve to 17-9. A couple other basketball games tonight around the Mountain West. As you look at the conference standings, brought to you by the Colorado Chevy dealers. San Diego State 24-0, number 4 in the country. And then it's Colorado State 8-4, and they're taking on 8-5 Utah State tonight. And right now, in the second half, Utah State has a 7-point lead. We'll update you. It's 40-33. Utah State just underway in the second half, and a little bit later on tonight, New Mexico, the tall order of taking on the Aztecs on the West Coast. So Keaton Van Solen will go to the line. 17 fouls on both schools. Van Solen doesn't help things by missing the front end.
That could really help, just getting to the easy way there.
Hobbs, good ball movement. Boy, this is great ball movement. Jessup, and he's fouled on a 3-4-point opportunity. Solen nailed him, and that is Justinian Jessup That was like the 38th pass on this sequence.
And what a great shot fake by the all-time leading three-point shooter in the league, Drew. So compact, he didn't have to recock that. It was just a thing of beauty, and kept his balance and just knocked down his second three of the contest.
Yeah, and his first hoop in the second half. He completes the rarity of 4-point play. And now Boise State up by 15. Their largest lead of the evening. They're on a 10-0 blitz over the last 2.5 minutes. Joyce. Swan gets the offensive rebound. The Air Force, typically a good shooting team, as we keep pointing out. They are 4 for 21 from deep. 5 to shoot it. Scotty, I don't know how he got that off.
Wow, he just willed that in. Air Force, Drew, we talked about how bad they're shooting it against one of the best defensive teams, not in the Mountain West Conference, but in the country. San Diego State, they shot almost 56% and 51% from the three-point line.
Williams gets his own rebound and puts it back in.
What a great first, second, and third effort by Williams, who just carried them offensively in the first half.
Now Swan, they'll have a three-point opportunity.
So that was a great job by Swan going down, getting early post position on Williams. He had Williams buried in the post there. Nice job by Swan. Look how deep he catches this here. Plays with his lower body. 2 feet in the paint on the catch. They need more and more of that out of Ryan Swan.
Well, they need early offense, quick offense, because they're down by a bunch. R.J. Williams with his 4th. And Swan unable to finish the three-point play.
They have not only shot 4 from the field, they've nothing to write home about from the free throw line.
Yeah, they're typically outstanding, 75% on the season. It's Jessup. Dickinson, he's had the 3 going tonight. Here's Walker. And away from the basketball.
They've got their hands full down there with Lavelle Scotty right now. Lavelle Scotty is working like a government mule around that low post, boy. And I tell you, the Broncos are having a hard time matching up with that individual strength.
Fouls on Hobbs. There's Leon Rice. You know, one of the things that has benefited.
They've missed 3 in a row, Drew, and missed all 3 of them badly.
I think it's one of the major things that's benefited Boise State is their practices. Not only do they have a veteran bunch, but they have 5 outstanding players sitting out. Transfers, 2 from the University of Arizona. Last time I checked, they generally have good players.
Yeah.
And he said our practices, I mean, have helped us prepare for games because the scout unit, if you will, is an outstanding college basketball team.
Well, it's competitive. It makes practice competitive every day. If your first 5 or 6 compete against guys who are not very good, if you have a bunch of, not very good walk-ons, or you got injuries and guys aren't supplying competition every day in practice, that doesn't make you any better.
15-point lead again after the 2 makes by Jessup with 5:13 to play. Boise State in control, 61-46. The Broncos have so much to offer here. Anyway, I was talking to Leon about this earlier. How many schools have, when you talk about the 2 typical on the men's side revenue sports, football and basketball, how many schools are truly outstanding at both? I think through the years, Penn State, great tradition in football. Nebraska, great tradition in football. USC, great tradition in football. They've had their moments in basketball, but it's rare that there's that school, and you see the converse. North Carolina, they've had some moments in football, basketball school, right? Yes. It's unusual to have both sports really going. At Boise State, everybody thinks of their football program, but 6 of the last 7 years, they've won 20+ in basketball under Coach Rice.
Well, to go back 10 or 15 years, Drew, their leadership here has been very visionary, so to speak. That wasn't that many years ago. They were in the Big Sky Conference, and University of Idaho was dominating them in football. And now they're one of the top football programs in the nation. And as you say, Leon Rice has done a great job here. 2 outstanding Division I sports in both football and basketball.
George is, if he's fouled by Walker, Walker's gone. He was fouled by Walker, and this is going to be a forgettable day for the sophomore from San Antonio. He's going to foul out with just 5 points.
The Broncos 11-1 at home, Drew. As I was preparing for this, and I mentioned back when they were in the Big Sky, I was a coach at Idaho, so I played in this arena several times. They have never had a losing home season in this arena. How about that? That's amazing.
Robert George goes 1 out of 2.
I lost a game here once, Drew, up 5, and they banked in back-to-back 3-point shots against me. Bobby Guy is the head coach here. I'm telling you, you call that buzzer shot, and they bank 2 in on you and win the game.
Yeah, then it wasn't meant to be, was it?
It was.
Ryan Swan launches a 3. It's 33rd of the year, 62-49. Well, just ask Utah State about having a nice lead in Buzzard's luck.
How about that?
Because they were up 18 late, and they lost because Ray J. Dennis for Boise State, Jessup with the reverse layup, had 19 points in the final 3:27, and in overtime, Boise State beats Utah State in a game that they had no business winning.
The most amazing thing about that story, R.J. Williams, 19 points in the last 3.5 minutes. He had not attempted a shot before that. Boise State up comfortably, 15 points.
Mountain West Basketball on AT&T Sportsnet is brought to you by Maaco. Visit your local Maaco and turn the car you drive into the car you love. With our AT&T Sportsnet crew, the Hall of Famer from the state of Utah, Joe Cravens. I'm Drew Goodman. Boise State looks like they're going to improve to 17-9 overall, 9-5 in conference, and 12-1 at home. They are up 64-49. Air Force down the stretch has a favorable schedule to get healthy again.
Yes, they do.
I mean, they're staring at their 7th straight loss. You know, there were really high expectations, which are you know, to be frank, unusual at Air Force because they returned virtually everybody from a year ago. They were one of the hotter teams down the stretch last year, finished 8-10 in conference play. You have Scotty back. You have, obviously, Ryan Swan back. You have the precocious freshman who became a sophomore in A.J. Walker. You have some role players in Joyce. And they've just gone through a tough stretch the last few weeks.
Well, they have. And I was talking to Dave today, Dave Pilipovich, and I've always thought, as a former head coach, that the success you have on any given season depends on 2 things. And Jessup now coming alive in a big way in the second half with 16. That I think it depends on 2 things, your level of success. How many close games you win or lose, and sometimes that's out of your hands as a coach a lot of times, and what kind of year your seniors have. They don't have to be all conference players, but they have to be what you expect them to be, and it's up for debate whether these 5 seniors have had the years that were expected to have, and not to lay any blame on them at all. They've had great careers here, but they have just been snake bit here in these last 7 games.
Ryan Swan will get the foul and a 3-point opportunity for Derek Alston. You know, one of the better things that have come out of this evening for Boise State, in addition to an inevitable win, is after slumping for 5 halves, Derek Alston has got it together in this second half as they prepare to take on San Diego State in their next outing.
Well, as I said, I think he's changed his offensive mindset a little bit this second half. And as you saw, driving it to the basket, taking it to his mid-range jump shot, as opposed to kind of a catch-and-shoot approach that I thought he had in that first half. But he's too good a player to stay in that slump for very long.
That's his first free throw of the night. He's got 15 points, but that's mentionable because he's 11th in the nation in free throws made. Tonight, just middle of the line once. That flank is kind of indicative of what has gone so wrong with Air Force tonight.
And Drew, let me back up a minute. I was certainly not trying to be critical of Air Force's senior class because they've been terrific. I'm just saying, as you said, they were very hot coming down the stretch. Pretty high expectations, and they've just kind of gotten off track here. Speaking of on track, Justinian Jessup having a terrific second half.
Yep, he's got 18 points. He's 3 out of 7 for 3-point range. You're a great shooter. You keep shooting.
And he is the greatest in the history of Mountain West Conference basketball. The all-time leader in 3-point shots made. The first one in the history of the league to have over 300 made 3-point shots. As I said in the open, he didn't just take that over for some guy no one's heard of. He took over for Jimmer Fredette, who set this league on its ear a few years ago.
Hey, it wasn't just this league. Jimmer Fredette got a ton of well-deserved national attention. I'll tell you who for me, is still the MVP of this game for Boise State because he was doing it when no one else could. And that is R.J. Williams.
And he has done nothing pretty. He has been all effort, all over that glass. He has had a terrific game.
You want to know how terrific? 16 points, 12 rebounds.
Wow, that is a handful. His 8th double-double of the year. There was only 7 guys in the Mountain West Conference who had 7 double-doubles. He has probably moved up that list now.
Mason Taylor, a guy that Dave Pilipovich has great things to say about.
Yes.
Again, he was sick for a long period of time. He hits a 3 right there. He's going to be a big part of things down the road for Air Force. Inside a minute to play. Williams, fumble.
Well, looking down the road for Air Force, Drew, they've got Akia back. They've got Chris Joyce. They've got Chris Joyce coming off a 23-point game against one of the nation's best defensive teams. They've got Van Solen back. They've got a guy who I really like, who hasn't got a lot of time lately, is Abe Kinraid, who is a great athlete, great body. So, I mean, they've got some pieces to work with after losing these 5 seniors.
Carter Murphy. And the layup is good from Camden Vanderswag. He's a 6'4" freshman from Iowa. Riley Abercrombie getting some moments, number 11 in white. Here's Abercrombie. Mason Taylor.
And that will about wrap it up.
Dickinson will get across the timeline, dribble it out. And Boise State with a very solid second half. And they are going to improve to 9-5 in conference play, 17-9 overall. As the two good friends meet, Leon Rice congratulating the coaching staff for Air Force. The final score 74-57. And for Dave Pilipovich's team, they dropped to 9-16, 3-10 in conference play. But they have some winnable games coming up down the stretch. Boise State, get back into practice, Jim, and get ready for the Aztecs.
Well, that's a big game here. Leon Rice was hoping his team wasn't looking ahead. Maybe they were in that first half, but they got going in the second half, and their stars got going in the second half. Justinian Jessup really heated up. Austin kicked off that shooting slump he was in. This is a very potent Boise State offense when they're all going right. And for Dave Pilipovich, they just got to stay the course and get going, get those seniors all jump started again and being enthusiastic and win a little to get into that conference tournament. They're talented enough that they could make some noise in the conference tournament.
Well, I think any good basketball team is typically unselfish, and we've seen Boise State a bunch. We've talked to Leon Rice. He has an unselfish group. Derek Alston struggling the last 2.5 games, really picked it up in the second half, but he let the game come to him, and he did other things. You pointed this out. At one point, he had 6 rebounds.
Yes, he had 6 rebounds in the first half. He made some nice defensive plays, and like I say, I thought he changed his offensive mindset a little bit and shot some pull-ups, got going a little bit, made some nice instinctive cuts to the basket. The guy that carried them tonight effort-wise was R.J. Williams, as you said, early on, and then he was solid in the second half. So Boise State has a very favorable record here in the last 3 weeks, but so does Air Force. They've got a chance to get right. Both teams, it was ugly early, but then it kind of got going, Drew. A pretty good college game down the stretch.
And because you are so sharp, you pointed out there's no way that Boise State or Air Force was going to shoot as poorly as they did in the first half. Boise State in particular shot it very well, 50% in the second half. They end up winning going away.
They did.
Kudos,
and,
my friend.
We are in the stretch run here. They're less than 3 weeks away from the conference tournament.
That's right.
That's right.
Enjoyed it as always, Joe. Appreciate it. It's a good night for the Broncos at home. They have lost only one time in the state of Idaho this year. They have defeated the Air Force Academy tonight, 74-57. For Joe Cravens and our entire AT&T Sportsnet crew, Drew Goodman saying so long from Boise. Tune in Saturday, 2 p.m. Mountain Time. Colorado State will be in Laramie taking on the Wyoming Cowboys. We thank you for watching Mountain West Basketball on AT&T Sportsnet. Good night, everybody.